Let me back up assess if you'd told me that a kid playing violin in a city park could spark the kind of chaos that cracks your heart right in half and then stitches it back together with something stronger than pride. I probably would have laughed. But I saw it happen. And if you've ever wondered how a small moment can turn into a battle over belonging, justice, and the stubbornness of Hopewell, pull up a chair, because you're not going to forget this one. It was late afternoon, the kind where the sun hangs low and throws gold across Jefferson Park, and you'd think nothing bad could happen with so many families and so much laughter floating around. But there was Malik, 10 years old, violin case hugged tight, keeping to the shade by the old stone fountain, because even at that age, he already knew not to draw too much attention. He wore a red hoodie, jeans too long at the cuffs, sneakers that had seen better days, but he wasn't worried about style. He was worried about remembering how his grandma's hands used to guide how she'd set him on her lap, whispering, "You play like you belong, baby. Don't let anyone tell you different." And maybe if she'd still been around, he wouldn't have been so nervous, but she wasn't, and the violin worn, chipped, loved nearly to pieces was all he had left of her. That afternoon, Malik did what he'd never dared before he played. The first note wobbled, his bow stuttered, but he pushed through, letting the music rise, filling the edge of the park with something soft and aching. Some little kids stopped, heads cocked, grins blooming on their faces. But further back, a woman in tennis whites and sunglasses watched him with a kind of sour suspicion that stings, whispering to her husband about sympathy acts, as if a black kid playing music was automatically begging for handouts. Malik heard it all, always did, but he kept playing, every note a little louder, every breath a little steadier, like maybe music could drown out the weight of being out of place. But the music had no chance against the sound of boots crunching over grass-dew police officers, faces flat, moving like they had mission. The taller one's badge caught the sun. "Hey," he barked. Malik froze, bow hovering over the strings. "What are you doing out here?" The question wasn't really a question. Malik swallowed, voice scraping out. "Just playing music, sir." The officer's lips curled, partners snorting, both of them eyeing him like he was an abandoned backpack on the subway. "You here with someone?" Before Malik could answer, that tennis skirt lady piped up again loud enough for the whole park, saw him hanging around for over an hour. First it's music, next they're begging. If you've ever felt judgment land on you like a pile of bricks, you know what he felt. "I wasn't asking for money," he managed, but the officers weren't listening. "You can't just hang around making people uncomfortable," the tall one snapped. Kids watched from a distance, silent, scared, learning how quickly things can shift. And then the cop reached out. "Let me see that," snatching Malik's violin, yanking it from his hands so hard the bow dropped, and Malik stumbled, pleading, "Please, sir, it's mine." But it didn't matter. "Old thing," the officer muttered, and then, just like that, he lifted it high and smashed it on the pavement. The crack was like a gunshot. Wood, strings, memory scattered. Malik dropped to his knees, scrambling for the pieces, tears sliding down his cheeks, the world shrinking around him to just pain and shame and the sound of people watching, judging, whispering. That's when she appeared, Malik's mom, Camille Johnson. She moved through the crowd, quiet and fierce, all black jeans and a fitted coat, not the kind of woman you ignore. Her eyes shut people up before her voice did. She knelt beside Malik, hand on his shoulder. "You okay?" she asked, soft, seeing the broken violin in his hands and the pain in his eyes. She stood and faced the officers, voice low but carrying. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" The tall cop tried to brush her off sarcasm in his ma'am, confidence in the crowd at his back, but Camille just stared, steady. "Your kid's been making people uncomfortable," he insisted, causing a scene. "Playing music is a scene now," she shot back, and you could feel the crowd leaning in, sensing something different in the air. He shrugged. "We had complaints. Show's over." Camille's eyes flicked to the faces, some smug, some suddenly uncertain. She knelt again. "It was Grandma's violin," Malik whispered. Her face went still, then she straightened, steel in her spine. "I want her badge numbers." The officer laughed. "Oh, you're one of those," but Camille didn't blink. "You're responsible for destroying private property," she said, voice even. "It's garbage," he sneered. "Not to him," she replied, colder than before. The second cop stepped in. You want to file a complaint? You're both coming with us. Camille nodded. We'll go. Not defeat. Strategy. They walked to the patrol car, Malik's small hand tight in his mother's. The broken violin clutched like bones. The ride felt endless. At the station, the officers led them to hard chairs under tired fluorescent lights. Minutes ticked. The officer's cocky partner lounged nearby, but the mood had shifted. When the police chief, Nolan, appeared, everything changed. Knew Camille, and more than that, he respected her. I want to know what your officers think they're doing, Camille said, voice sharp. Nolan stumbled, uncertain, until Camille pulled out her wallet and flashed her badge. FBI, Internal Affairs. Yeah, that happened. The color drained from Nolan's face. The officer's bravado shattered. Camille demanded the footage from the patrol car cameras. They brought a tablet. Everyone watched as the video showed Malik playing, the woman whispering to the officers, the violence of the violin being ripped away, shattered on the ground. When it ended, the chief looked like he'd swallowed a tack. Camille's voice was icy. I expect both officers suspended. Full cooperation on the investigation. Nolan just nodded. No argument left. For the first time that day, Malik felt a little less small, a little less broken. He still didn't know what would happen next, but he wasn't scared anymore. They left the station. 3 days later, Malik and his mom stepped into a music shop that smelled like polished wood and hope. Camille spoke to the shopkeeper direct, certain. Malik looked at the rows of shiny violins, none of them his, none of them carrying Grandma's scars or her story. But Camille had thought of that. From her bag, she pulled the largest fragment saved from the old violin still bearing Grandma's faded initials and handed it to the shopkeeper, who presented a new violin, beautifully crafted, but with that old piece set right into its back, visible and proud. They can break the wood, Camille said, but they can't break your song. Malik held the new violin, bow trembling, and let the first note ring out not perfect, but stronger than before. Outside, the sun was bright again, and as they walked home, Camille's hand warm on his back, she whispered, next time you play like you own the whole damn park. And you know what? Some songs, they just never break, no matter what the world throws at you. So how do you think? Was justice served? Did it go far enough? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about right, wrong, and the kind of courage it takes to keep playing even when the world wants you silent.